Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this one is a Classic Soul Winners. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the Classic Soul Winners New Testament, it's essentially just a New Testament King James Version Bible, and it basically just has a chunk of helps in the back to help with people who are coming to the faith. Basically, how to help out new Christians, what to say to them, how they're to receive salvation, those sorts of things. Kind of the gospel message summed up, and it's a good sizable chunk, so there's quite a bit of good stuff there to help you. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now, these are readily available. I think they're still produced, and they're around like $20. I'll post a link down below in the description. So if you guys are interested, you can, just swipe it from there. Unfortunately, the only thing they come in nowadays, they used to come in a nice leather option, but nowadays all they come in is genuine bonded leather, my absolute favorite thing. But I guess for a little pocket edition like this, genuine bonded leather probably isn't the worst. It's not the most flexible thing. It's almost like a hardback. It's a pretty stiff cover, and they do make a black and a burgundy. This one obviously is the black. But on the outside, it's very unassuming. There's not really much other than the genuine bonded leather. The only thing else there is on the spine, and it says Classic Soul Winners New Testament with helps. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with bonded leather, it is essentially the scraps of normal leather that are, the normal leather that gets produced for leather covers. They take the scraps and the remnants and they kind of grind them up, and then they re-glue them back together, and they kind of press in this kind of faux leather pattern here. So essentially, it's like maybe like a plywood or particle board version of leather. And it tends not to hold up super great. I've seen they're really kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes you'll get some that are, I guess, whatever formulation they use, it's a little bit more durable than others. But usually with heavy use, you tend to start seeing some cracking on the hinges, and then around the edges and that sort of thing. And they just tend to kind of fall apart. But I guess for something like this, again, like a little pocket version, it's not the worst. And it does appear to be a glued binding, so it's not even semi-sewn or anything like that. So this probably will last you, a few rounds out and about in the backpack or in the back pocket, and then eventually you'll have to probably replace it. But if you're a fan of the Soul Winners, I would imagine you'd be happy to replace it, or happy to just gift it to somebody who's new to the faith. And you might just want to do that anyway, because heck, who can't use a copy of the Bible, right? Especially the New Testament. Especially with some great helps in the back. But let's go ahead and take a look at some more of the features here on the outside, and then we'll get into the inside. Just have yellow head and tail bands, very small ones. And there is a black double-sided satin ribbon. Actually, it's very nice. A very thick ribbon, albeit narrow. It's a very nice ribbon, nice ankle cut there. So actually a very nice ribbon. Kudos to that. As far as the gilt goes, it's kind of a semi-gloss gilt there. It is well applied, nicely done. On the inside, it's just a paper paste down. Again, these aren't like super expensive. It would be nice if they made a nicer edition of this. I did see one pop up on eBay, and it was a genuine leatherback from the 1950s, and it was on much better paper, and the construction was much better. But it went for a pretty sizable chunk. So I guess the fans of the Soul Winners really love the Soul Winners, because they really went to town on that one. But there, the corner work, for whatever it's worth, very meager. Yep. We'll go ahead and get into the text. There's quite a bit to look at on this one, despite it just being a New Testament. You have the title page there, Classic Soul Winners, New Testament with Helps, King James Version. And then it's produced by Anchor Bible Concepts, ABC, out there in Springfield, Tennessee. And to place an order, there's their phone number if you guys want to call them up. But they are available online. Classic Soul Winners, New Testament. There's the kind of information page, copyright page there. An ISBN number. And you have the books of the Old and New Testament, your, table of contents. And then you have your additional contents, and I'll show this to you guys, because we are not going to have enough time to kind of get through all of this. But at least you guys can kind of see what is available to you if you were to purchase one of these. Yeah, great bit of helps there. And then you have a little note from Dr. John Stansel, and you have your introduction to the Soul Winners. And you just have the Gospel according to Matthew. So we'll take a look. It's kind of standard fare for the King James. It's just a double column verse by verse. There's no cross references. There's no, translator's notes. None of that. This is really meant to just be an uncluttered text, to be kind of a quick aid to somebody who's, maybe you're evangelizing or something like that, or you just give it to somebody and they're not really going to use, say, like a new Christian or a new reader of the Bible. They're not really going to use those helps and those aids, that sort of thing. You just want to get them like the word. This would be a good thing to go with. But you do have the book, name and the chapters that are associated with that page. Up in the top exterior corners here, you have your page numbers in the top center. And then you do have a very small running header here, kind of on the interior section there of the page. And then you have a double line chapter number. And that's pretty much it. It doesn't appear to... Yep, they do use it. Pilcrows right there to indicate new paragraphs. And it looks like they're capitalizing all caps on the first word of each chapter there. We'll take a look at the paper since we're here. There's not going to be any poetic section. Not that there would be any poetic formatting, but you can see a little bit of show through. But again, for a pocket edition and at this price point, it's kind of what's to be expected in this kind of paper. Not the best of paper, but not the worst. A decent amount of show through, but not like an intolerable amount of show through. It's just fine for this sort of thing. I'll kind of flip through it. I want to get to the helps because there are quite a bit of helps. And it's a black letter text in case you guys didn't notice. There's no red letter in this one. There we go. We have the end of Revelation. And then we have some of the helps here. So again, I'm not going to show them all to you, but I'll kind of flip through them here and there a little bit. Sometimes I wish I could. Maybe I will one of these days. I keep saying that I'm going to do it. I have to get some of these like kind of standout editions, like this sort of thing, and just go page by page and let you guys see them, Because sometimes this stuff is pretty interesting. You see here, there's a little note on Mormonism and the Jewish people, Jehovah's Witnesses, which is nice because it, gives you some verse references. Now, some of those other cults, they're not going to believe you. They take their own edition of the Bible over this one. So, you might want something a little bit more directed towards them, maybe using their own translations like the Mormon translation or the New World translation for Jehovah's Witnesses. But at least you got something, a starting point, So, some interesting information nonetheless. I'm not even sure if you guys can read it on the camera. Sorry if you can't. But, as you can see, there's a good bit of helps here. A nice chunk, really a nice chunk, nice sizable chunk. Point you in the right direction. And again, it's great for an evangelist or great for somebody who's new. It does have this little information under your baptism. Let's see, recorded in heaven, it says. We are to be baptized immediately, baptismal date. So I guess, when you were saved and all that sort of stuff when you were baptized. So yeah. And then just a little extra kind of drawings there and some different things. So here's a pretty neat thing. So here's a step-by-step soul winning plan. It kind of spells it out for you. And this is great if you're not, some people just aren't great at talking. I'm really terrible at public speaking. I make these videos and it's helped me a little bit with my public speaking, but I'm horrible at public speaking. I get really tongue-tied as I do in these videos. So this sort of thing for somebody like me would be a real boon just to kind of know what to say. Because I kind of stare at people and I'm like, okay, what can I unpack? What do you want to know? How many thousands of years of history do you want to know? How much time do I have? I got 5 minutes. What can I tell you? So this would certainly direct you a little bit better than probably some intense theological discourse, So we have, then you have a little area here for your souls won to Christ, with their name and their date. This is kind of weird to me only because, just because you're speaking to somebody doesn't mean that you're going to, You're not going to be doing the harvesting. You can plant your seed and you can water the seed. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the one harvesting. So I guess maybe if they get in contact with you again later on down the road, but you never know. You might plant a seed in 1973 and that seed might not grow until, 2003. So there's no telling. And this is kind of weird to me that you would keep track of who you shared the gospel with. You don't need to keep track of it. God keeps track of it. So I'm sure he'll let you know when you get up there how well you did, good and faithful servant. So that's kind of weird to me. There is a section of notes, though, and I might use this section for notes as well. But you have an additional section here of lined paper for notes, which I think is a plus. And to me, obviously, the help section is pretty sizable, but there's always going to be some additional things depending on the types of people that are in your area. You might need some additional notes for Jehovah's Witnesses, or maybe some additional notes for just other, cults or religions, false religions that are out there. So you might want to list something a little more specific. So useful, definitely. You can see here, it appears that some of the construction is kind of already beginning to give way. Again, this is a glued binding. so it's not going to hold it forever. I'd be surprised if you got, with heavy use, probably a few months out of it, especially if you're carrying your back pocket. It's probably going to come apart pretty quick. But, for what it is, it's okay. Then you just have your end sheet there, and that's it. Let's go ahead and get you guys some measurements. And this one comes in at 6 and where's that? 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch tall by 4 5/8 inches wide. Ooh, and it's teeny tiny skinny. Very portable, which is nice. And it's under 1/2 inch. I mean, a little under 1/2 inch thick. So nice, portable size for sure. Let's take a look at these fonts. And I will say the fonts are a good size, for a pocket edition like this. Look at the K here in knowing. Ooh, if I can get my life together. Now, actually, let me get distracted here for a second. That is one thing, because this is bonded leather, because it is a glue binding, it does not want to stay closed. So be prepared that if you purchase one of these and you're reading out of it, you're probably going to have to be like this for quite a while until it kind of loosens up a little bit. But it is going to want to close on you if you're anywhere not even, close to the middle of the Bible. It's going to want to close on you. So kind of press it down. All right, stay. Knowing. Where are we? It appears to be about an 8-point uppercase versus Times New Roman. We'll use an N here in pertaining. Yeah, about an 8-point in comparison to Times New Roman. So you have about an 8-point font here in comparison to Times New Roman. It's the third time I've said it, goodness. But not a super large font, but certainly if you have decent eyesight and you want a nice thin edition like this, this would be a great way to go. And if you're new to evangelizing, or if you want to hand these out kind of as hand this out with a tract or something like that, it would certainly be an efficient thing to do, I suppose, to give somebody a New Testament. It doesn't hurt, right? A good place to start. Certainly a very good place to start. Bible buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, if you could like, comment, subscribe, all that happy YouTube stuff. Until next time, bye.